So today I'm going to be talking about my first ever driving lesson, which it was an experience to say the least. So it was on my birthday, which is the 28th of September in 2019 this was. Because I am 17 now, and I just passed my driving test literally yesterday. So I'm so happy to finally be done with lessons because it is expensive. Okay, so yeah. So first driving lesson. So I was at my godmother's house on my birthday, just like hanging out and stuff with my god sister. Um and then so I had a driving lesson booked. But the instructor turned up late, so I was just kind of waiting around like what's happening because it was on my birthday, so we were gonna go and do something after. But that's the least of the problems with it. Um, so we go out on the drive and it's alright. I was very nervous because obviously I'd never driven before and I knew nothing about driving. So it was quite terrifying, honestly. Yeah. So we pull up like on the side of the road where there's just like parked cars and stuff, and he shows me how to do the gears and whatnot because this was a manual lesson and I drive automatic. I passed my test in an automatic car, which for me, I just don't want to drive manual, honestly, and eventually I want to get an electric car, so it makes sense to do automatic because you can't get a manual electric car. So yeah. Um so yeah, we put up like on the side of the road, which is fine. It's like by a park, nice area, I guess. Yeah. And just it's like normal first lesson and everything. We start driving around in like the 20 limit area because obviously you don't want to be doing like 70 mile an hour on your first lesson because you will crash. Yeah. So do a few like maneuvers and whatnot. So it's all going perfectly normal. Um, but this was meant to be an hour lesson because I didn't want to do a super long lesson on my birthday. I wanted to celebrate my birthday as well. So it gets to like an hour and a half we've been gone, and I'm just looking at the time like, when are we going back? Because I really wanted to get back, and it was with someone I'd never met before. He didn't speak very good English, which perfectly fine, honestly, but it's not good when they're trying to teach you something and you can't understand what they're saying. So yeah, that was not fun. I just kind of had to guess, which was a bit awkward. Yeah, so we're driving around as normal. So yeah, it is. So I'm like worried, like when are we going back? Like how long is this lesson? Um, and we're driving down that same road again, and he's running. He just says to pull up on the left, which is normal. You do that on your test as well. So I pull up on the left, and then he goes to get out the car, and I'm just like, okay. And then like as he's getting out, he just leans to me and be like, "Oh, I'll be back in 5. It's prayer time." And I'm like, "What? Did I hear you correctly?" I was so confused. And then he just shut the door, and then he goes and opens the boot and gets his full like prayer mat out. Um, and I'm just sat in the driver's seat, never driven before, and he's like, "Oh, just practice steering, like feeding the steering wheel through." I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, and I'm sat there like, what? So I text my dad, I'm like, I don't know when I'm coming back. Like, I thought this was an hour lesson, and he's just got out to pray, and he's just like he doesn't reply. And then once I get back, I'm just like, I am so confused, and I had paid for another lesson or two in advance because I am socially awkward and I can't be like, oh no, I don't want to do another lesson, which I didn't want to do another lesson with him because I couldn't understand him. So I had paid him then I go back and like tell my dad and my godparents and everything, and I'm just like, I don't want to do a lesson with him because I was so confused. Like, but now we just kind of laugh about it now. Like, my dad said that would be like the epic picture of Zoe on her first driving lesson. The man just praying on the side of the road, like, "Dear God, please, please don't crash my car." Like, oh. But I was so nervous. Like, it was just, I don't even know. Like, fair enough. If you have a set time through your religion that you have to pray, then pray. But just fit work around that, not stop in the middle of a lesson that you're being paid for and get out and pray. Like, at least tell me before I get in the car and not just suddenly leave me there, like, you know? So I don't know. Like, I have nothing against praying or religion. Like, you do you, honestly. But at least just tell me before. Oh, it was just so bad. So that was, September, October, November, December, January. I just realised something. I passed exactly 5 months after I had my first lesson, because I passed on the 28th, and my birthday was on the 28th. Oh my god, that is so well planned. Wow. That's actually so satisfying. So after 5 months lesson, after that whole situation, I got my dad to like phone him up and be like, she doesn't want to do another lesson. We just kind of left it at that. But then my dad's friend is a driving instructor, but he only does automatic, which at that point I was like, well, I'm not too fussed, honestly, about doing manual, and I so much prefer automatic, honestly. You can't stall the car, like, at all, and you don't have to find, like, the biting point on the clutch, which I hate so much. That was a whole other situation. Like, I had already bought a manual car, which was a little Citroen C1, like 2007. It was really nice. It only done like 20,000 miles. But I wanted an automatic. So then I had to sell that car, and then I bought my car that I have now, which is broken, which is very irritating. Like, straight after you pass your test, you want to go out driving and have more freedom, but no, I have no car, so I can't, and my dad will not let me drive his car. Like, he has a 3.8 litre Mercedes, which I don't think the insurance company would be too happy with that. Yeah, so I'm already on my second car, and I've only like just passed, which, wow. But my plan, right, is to get a newer car, like maybe 2016 type car, on my birthday this year, so when I turn 18, because then I can get finance and I don't have to like save up like 12 grand while I'm in college and only working part-time. Like, it's just not gonna happen, you know. So yeah. So now I'm gonna talk about my driving test, which that also was an experience in and of itself. Like, my god. So if you've done a driving test before, then you'll know that you have to go and read the registration of a car just to prove like that you can read and that you can see that far, like your eyesight and everything. But I was reading it through like a metal fence where it's like crossed over metal wire, which is black as well, and I'm trying to read black letters and I'm like, huh? And I said it twice and got it wrong twice. And then she asked me like the third time, I was like, oh, because I moved a bit. I was like, oh no, it's not an N, it's a W. So I was like, my heart was pounding after that. I was like, I've already failed. Like, what's the point, you know? So we get in the car. She does the show me timing question, which was what's the legal limit of tread on the tyres and how do you check if they're in a good condition, which was perfectly fine. I had literally just gone over that question with my instructor right before the test. So that was great. And then, so we drive out of the test centre, which is fine. And we're going along, so I'm following road signs for like the independent driving section. So yeah, do that. And come up to a roundabout, so I'm taking the third exit on the right. And I forgot to indicate, and I realised halfway around the roundabout, I was like, oh god, so I quickly like put the indicator on and I was like, oops. So I thought I'd failed from that as well, but surprisingly not. So I just thought I'd already failed and that there was just no point even like continuing the test, but we keep going and we get to the point where she gives verbal direction. And I'm not good with left and right, honestly. Like, even with my driving instructor, he'd be like, go left, and then I start like indicating right, he's like, no, the other left. I'm like, oh, right, okay. So, and that happened on my test. So basically, I thought she said take the next, well, she said take the next right, and I started indicating left, and she was like, no, right, and I was like, oh, okay, and then I take the next right, she's like, oh no, she started shouting at me, and I was like terrified. And I think she actually meant the right at the end of the road. So, and then I turn into this road and it says road closed, and I'm like freaking out. She's like, oh, just follow the diversion, you know, just keep going. I'm just like, okay. She was like so mad at me. So I just follow it around, and then she tells me to go another direction and I go the wrong way again. Like, I start indicating to go the wrong way again, and she was like, no, that way. I'm like, oh, okay. So I go that way. So yeah, and then we get back to the test centre, and she's like, right, I just need to fill out the whole form and everything. I'm just like, okay. She's like, do you want your instructor present? I'm like, yeah. So he like jumps in the back of the car, and then she's like, I'm pleased to tell you that you've passed. I was like, huh? What? I was so surprised. I thought I messed up so bad. And then she didn't tell me how many minors I got, like as she told me I'd passed, she didn't tell me. So my dad just phoned me as I was recording, so that just okay, that just messed up what I was saying. But yeah, so she told me, she didn't tell me how many minors I got, and I was just like, oh, okay. And then I got the email which said I got 7 minors, which you're allowed 15, so I'm like, I did fine, you know. That's alright. But then, so after the test, like, me and my dad, we go out for a meal to celebrate, and that alone was not a good experience. Like, we ended up getting it free because, so I got a veggie burger, and there was mould on the bottom of the bun, and I flipped it over to take out the tomato because tomatoes are gross and don't you dare tell me otherwise. So I flip it over to take the tomato out, and I'm just like, there is mould on here. So yeah, and then I get a new one, which took long, and then my dad had already finished his meal before I even got mine. It was not fun. But then they gave it to us for free because of that and everything. But yeah, so after that we go looking at cars because I'm like, well, if they can't fix my car, I'm gonna need to get a new one. So we go around all like the dealerships and stuff, and we go to a place called Hartwell, which they do like various like brands of cars and everything. And so I asked them like if they have any small automatics, and they're very like, they're overly friendly there. It's like, oh yeah, we have a Volkswagen Polo. Do you want to test drive it? They're like, oh yeah, we'll take you on a test drive it. I'm just like, They're like, you passed your test, right? I'm like, yeah, I passed today. And they're like, oh yeah, that's fine then, yeah. I'm like, I don't want to go on a test drive. Like, I had work straight after in like 20 minutes, and it's like a bit far. So I was almost like very nearly late for work, and it was stressful. So I'm like trying to drive this car, and it's my first time driving, like without my instructor next to me or an examiner, like telling me what to do and telling, well, the examiner doesn't tell you what to do, but like telling me where to go and like watching me drive. And so the person that works there is just chatting to my dad across the back and everything. I'm trying to drive. I'm like, I don't know where I'm going. Please help. So that was an experience, to say the least. And then I had to rush off to work, and I just kind of left them. So it was not fun. And then I got out the car and was like, they were like, so what do you think? I was like, yeah, well, I don't really like the colour because it's a red car and I'm not a fan of red. And they're just like, oh. I'm like, yeah, because you didn't ask, did you? No. You just kind of forced me to do a test drive. I'm like, okay, whatever. If I smash up your car, it's your problem. So, yeah. So that's kind of my whole driving experience so far. I can't wait for my car to be fixed. The parts should be arriving tomorrow, which I'm so excited for. And if it doesn't work after they put this part on it, I'm gonna be so mad. Because I just want to drive and have freedom, you know? Like, it's a pain either having to, like, get the bus or get my dad to drive me around. Because, like, I'm 17, nearly 18. I shouldn't be getting my dad to drive me everywhere, you know? Or at least I don't want to be. So, yeah. So this is the end of the video because it just is. Yeah, so that's my whole driving experience, I guess. Let me know in the comments, like, if you're learning to drive or have just passed your test as well. And, like, if you know any good insurance companies that are super cheap for new drivers, please let me know. Because it is insane how much it costs. Like, I am so broke and I just got paid. Yeah, I'm still broke.